All right. Well, hey guys, glad y'all could make it. And we are going to get started here tonight. And one of the things that I wanted to start with is the winner of the 10-piece pack was Henry Molina. So, Henry, I reached out to you on Instagram. And if you would just go ahead and contact me back, and I'll get your address and I'll send you out your 10-piece jelly baits pack. So, congratulations with that. And tonight, at the end of the um, video chat, I am going to be picking the two winners for the fishing trip with me on June 29th. So we'll do that towards the end. And there were only 7 guys who got into it, so your chances are pretty good to get chosen to go out and do a little bit of fishing in the inlet with me. So tonight I wanted to break down um, the trip that I took a couple of weeks ago. So I went out into the inlet. Let me go ahead and pull up the video clip and share this with you guys, and we can kind of break down a little bit. And we can kind of break down what is kind of going on here. So I went out into the inlet, and it was about 6:30 in the morning, so the sun was still kind of coming up. And I love to throw top water. Hey, Russell, how you doing, buddy? Freedom, how you doing? Good to see you guys here tonight. I was just getting ready to go over my trip that I took a couple of weeks ago to the inlet. So it was about 6:30 in the morning. Will, how you doing, bud? Glad to see you. Um, and usually this time of the year, all the way through almost December, I will start the day by throwing some top water. And on this day, I had tied on a Hidden Spook Junior, and it was in I call it the Woody Woodpecker color. It's got a red head with a white body. If you guys know the actual name of that top water, throw it into the comments. I've always called it the Woody Woodpecker. But anyway, um, right up in here, this creek mouth, the current was coming out. So it was a falling tide. Tim, how you doing, bud? And so the current was coming right out of here. So I wanted to work the grass line a little bit, and you guys can kind of see my top water coming out. And if I stop it right here, you can kind of see I hit right along this little grass line, right along in here. I was still trying to see if there were any trout outside of the current rip. Right off of this little grass point coming this way was the current rip. So I stayed right inside there. And I didn't pick anything up on the inside of that current rip. But as you can see, as soon as I threw over there into the current and had this top water start to flush out, I gave it a couple of pops and he took it right there. So, guys, one thing to remember is trout love current. So, anytime you can find these current rips dumping out of um, these creek mouths, definitely pitch up there with either a top water or any type of a paddle tail and see if you can't pick up a trout. So those are the areas that I'm really looking for, especially top water trout action. Mellow Reel, how you doing? Just checking in, can't stay. It's wife's time. Yeah, totally understand, man. Totally understand. I appreciate you dropping in, though. But yeah, I pulled him out of there and ended up being a 19, what was it, a 19 and a quarter. And so he was a really nice trout that day. He was really the only game fish that I ended up catching that day. Um, but I threw right back in there and up a bluefish. So again, that top action first thing in the morning, again, you can see I threw right into that current rip again, and that bluefish picked it up. So these current rips are very, very productive this time of the year. So make sure you guys don't pedal or paddle past those and you guys throw up in and around and work both sides of those current rips. So again, guys, if you have any questions, go ahead and throw them down into the chat box and I'll pick them up as I see it. So one of the things I wanted to do this morning is work back into an area where I wanted to hunt some redfish. And with the tide dropping out, it would be a perfect time to do that. Reds love um, shallow water. So I usually target redfish anywhere between 1 and 3 feet of water. I think I've only caught maybe one or two reds in anything deeper than that. Excuse me. I was fishing a channel one time and I had a mud minnow and I put him on the bottom and I picked up like a 14-inch little redfish. But most of the time in Murrells Inlet or down in Charleston, these reds work shallow water. So, if you're in 4 or 5 feet of water and you're looking for redfish, those aren't areas that I am targeting. Even when I'm working structure like docks, these dock pilings are in shallow water. Matter of fact, the redfish that I was thinking about just a couple of minutes ago was the red that I picked up in the tournament right off the dock piling. He was snugged up very, very close to that structure where those redfish usually like to be. And then it was only in about 2 feet of water where that dock piling was. Because when I swung around the back of that dock, I was in about a foot of water. And matter of fact, when I got up to the grass, I was pretty much beached. So those reds, shallow, shallow water. So I worked back into this creek, and here's this creek right here. And I am only in a foot and a half, and as I worked deeper in, it was less than a foot of water, and it was good structure. All of this along this left side was all oyster. The right side here was all a big mud bank, and out here in front of me, I don't know if we'll be able to see him or not, but there was a bird working right up in here. And then there was another bird that came in, a little egret that came in, and they were feeding on all the shrimp that was packed up in this little creek. Now, as I worked up in there, I could see a small school starting to work right out in front. Matter of fact, I'm pointing to it right now. And you can see all the activity in the water that was going on. This was small little finger mullet. It was popping shrimp. It was absolutely just bait everywhere. And right up there, matter of fact, I didn't quite reach him. This is where that flounder came out of the water, right up here. Really cool. There he was right there, came flopping out of the water. But this is where I wanted to push up into. I saw reds. I just couldn't get them to eat. When the bird actually ended up flying away, he kind of spooked them a little bit. They stayed together, but I just couldn't get them to eat. And that happens. But the success of this trip was I know there was reds pushed back up in there. My thought process was right. Even though I didn't hook into fish, at least I knew that, hey, I got back in there, there was bait, I saw the fish, I just couldn't get them to eat. So yeah, so that was success. Um, Freedom asked, is that the creek you were fishing in the video on the north or the south end of the inlet? That is on the south end of the inlet. It's an area that I usually don't fish very often at all, and I wanted to push back up in there. I knew we had a shrimp hatch about, well, now it's probably been about a month ago. And this creek that was flushing out just had shrimp everywhere. So yeah, it's south of the inlet. It's actually south of the Oyster Recycling Center, and I love getting back into these little bitty creek areas and doing some exploring. I don't catch fish all the time. Matter of fact, the video that I put out, this one right here, I only caught the trout and the bluefish, and the rest of the time, the other 4 hours I was out there, I had some shot at some fish, but I never did get them. So, yeah, that was just one of those days. Like I said in my outro in these videos, I don't go out and slay fish all the time. I wish I did. But you know what? I take that back. I don't think I wish I could slay fish all the time because I like the challenge in trying to put all the puzzle pieces together. And like I said, that was a puzzle piece that I put together that day in tracking down those redfish in that creek and finding the bait, finding the birds. I don't think if you guys can see right there, there's a blue heron sitting right there. So there was plenty of activity. Everything that I looked for was here. I just couldn't hook the fish. So, but I'm going to work back up in there probably next weekend. The tide should be falling back out again this weekend. The tides will be coming in. So, yeah, that's going to be another productive creek that I am going to be pushing back into again. Will asked the question, any plans to do more videos where you recap after? Find those helpful as a beginner. P.S. Caught my first flounder last weekend. Nice, man. Fishing a voodoo shrimp on the bottom. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm starting to do recaps. Matter of fact, the video that I am working on right now, yes, I am going to start doing those recaps. There is a gentleman that I watch on YouTube. His name is Greg Blanchard. He lives in California. He's a bass fisherman, and I really love the way that he recaps his day. So, I am going to try to mimic that, but put my own little bit of a spin on it. But yes, that is something that I am going to be doing is recapping my day. So, yes, absolutely. I appreciate you bringing that up, Will. Just to let you guys know, I will be picking the winner or the two winners for the fishing trip towards the end of the live stream here tonight. So, there were only 7 guys who entered into it. So, hopefully it should be a pretty good chance for, a couple of you guys to win. So, uh, but yeah, you can see, these creeks when I push back up into them. Matter of fact, there was one little section of creek. Let me see if I can back up to it here. Yeah, right here. Um, so you can see another section of this creek. Look at all of the oyster on the left and the right, and just small little creek here that I was working up into. Um, that's a better shot of it right there. Get my big hand out of the way. But these are the areas these redfish are going to be pushing into, especially at low tide. They are going to really seek out the 1 to 3 feet of water. And like I said, this is what I was looking for here. So perfect spots. There was again a ton of shrimp, a ton of bait fish. I'm starting to see some mullets, some menhaden are running. So plenty of bait out into the creeks right now. So yeah, that was awesome. That was really awesome. So Will, put in the comments, how big was your flounder? your first flounder that you caught. Let's see if he comments here real quick. I love the voodoo shrimp. I usually have some kind of a shrimp pattern tied on. Um, when I was out last weekend, I actually used the Salt Strong Power Prawn Junior. I haven't used that one in, oh gosh, probably a year and a half. I found it in the bottom of my bag, and so I ended up throwing him on and fishing with him. So Will said, just a little guy. So, hey, but a flounder is a flounder. So, congratulations to you. That's awesome. So, yeah, shrimp patterns are working really well right now. Um, any type of a small bait fish imitation are working well, 3 and 4 inch. Anytime that I am targeting flounder, I don't think flounder are that particular with the size of the profile. I have caught flounder with mullets sticking out of their mouth that they couldn't even swallow yet. So I think they are so aggressive that anything that really comes by, and if they're feeding, they're going to eat it. So anything from a 3, 4, 5 inch paddle tail, guys, throw them. These flounder will eat them, especially this time of the year with it being so much bait and them being such aggressive feeders. They will eat them. I did catch a couple of flounder the last time that I was out. I caught them both on mud bottoms. My first one came along a little grass line. There was a little current rip, a little bit of grass, and there was a current rip coming around this grass. And I pitched up my shrimp, and he ended up taking it. I had been fishing a paddle tail most of the morning, about an hour and a half, and I was too stubborn to switch it up. Um, After about that hour and a half, I went ahead and I pulled my other rod that I had the power prawn on, and I threw up along that grass line, and it couldn't have been 3 or 4 casts, and I hooked into a 15.5 inch flounder. And I was hopping and then dragging him on the bottom, and then hopping and then dragging on the bottom. And that's how I picked up both flounder. They were both on the shrimp imitation and both on that, I'm going to call it hop, hop, drag on the bottom. And I picked them both up. My second one was also about 15. I never put him on the board, but he was about the same size. And I ended up losing one right after I caught my second one. I threw right back into that area, and I hooked him, but he just came off. You guys know how flounder shake, and yeah, he just came off. So again, decent day. Found some flounder. Again, on the bottom, shrimp imitation. I think they're really keyed in on shrimp, especially with that shrimp hatch. So get them on the bottom if you're, um, you know, flounder fishing. If you're trout fishing, you want to work some ledges right now and work the middle of the column and maybe some top water. Um, Trout naturally they feed upwards. If you look, their eyes are on the top of their head, so they are like looking or concentrating up. So they're not usually oriented down towards the bottom. They're going to feed up into the water column. So if you guys are looking to pick up some trout, use some suspended baits, some mirror lures. You can throw a paddle tail, but use some real lightweight, maybe an eighth of an ounce or a 16th, or maybe even weightless, and just let it kind of drift down a little bit and keep it in the upper ends of the profile of the water column. I'm sorry. And then your redfish, again, look for that 1 to 3 feet of water. And then redfish are usually oriented down hunting. Their mouth is on the bottom of their face, so they dig in the mud and they will just be vacuuming up these little shrimp right now. And that's what they're going to be doing. So make sure that it's down on the bottom. Give them a couple of little hops and try to hit those redfish within, 12 to 15 inches away from them. I know that sounds close, but you kind of got to be right on top of them. So, guys, I hope that helps. What I'm going to go ahead and do, guys, if you still have any questions, go ahead and put them into the comment box. But I'm going to go ahead and let's pick a couple of winners. I am going to get out of that and let's pull up the list of guys who are in the giveaway. So here are the 7 guys right here. And I have a random number picker. And I'm going to throw it up here. So you can see right here, 1 through 7, those are the guys. And what I'm going to do is it's going to be on the 3rd roll will be the first winner. So let's go 1, 2, 3. So number 5, who is number 5? Joe Bell. Joe Bell is the first winner. Now let's go to the second winner. Again, it'll be on the 3rd roll. And if it's number 5 again, I'll just re-roll. So 1, 2, 3. Number 1. Who was number 1? Ron! Congratulations. Ron and Joe, I will be reaching out to you guys, and it's going to be June 29th. And again, it's just going to be weather dependent. And we will, let me minimize that and get that out of there. So it'll be weather dependent. And, if it's windy, rainy, nasty, then we'll just reschedule. But we'll be leaving out the Oyster Recycling Center. And we'll go out for about 4 or 5 hours. We'll probably maybe do 15, 20 minutes at the landing, talk about a couple of things. And guys, congratulations. Again, I'll be reaching out to you. And I think I'm going to be doing this a couple of different times throughout the year. And we'll kind of mix it up, how you guys can get in. And I was also kind of kicking around maybe doing a meetup. Anybody who wants to fish, I'll just kind of pick a day and be like, hey, I'm going to be at the landing at 6:30 in the morning. Whoever wants to fish, go ahead and come on out. So, it'll be fun. We'll have a good time on the 29th and see if we can't pick up some fish. So, guys, again, I really appreciate you coming through. If you guys have any topics or anything that you want me to cover, just hit me up on Facebook Messenger, message me on Instagram. You can always leave a comment on the YouTube videos, and I'll get back to it and I'll write them all down. So, guys, again, I really appreciate you guys. Russell, yeah, man, we're gonna put the hammer on them. So we'll definitely get out there. I'll take some pictures. I'll take a video. I'll make a YouTube video out of that day. So probably the first weekend or so in July, we'll go ahead and we'll push that video out so that you guys can see the day that we had on the water. So, guys, I really appreciate you, and I hope you guys enjoyed. And tonight's beverage, I don't think I ever said what tonight's beverage was. I'm doing a little Evan Williams honey whiskey tonight. So I didn't do a beer. I felt like a little whiskey shooter. So, guys, cheers to you guys, and I appreciate you. And I will talk to y'all in 2 weeks. Y'all have a good night.